I still remember the night I ran into the forest, my heart pounding like a drum. I could hear my foster parents yelling behind me, their angry voices echoing in the darkness. "You'll never be anything but a worthless orphan," they screamed. I didn't stop to look back. I just ran. My name is Tond, and I was adopted when I was just a baby. My foster parents took me in, but they never wanted me. They treated me like a servant, making me do all the chores while their real children played and laughed. They would hit me for the smallest mistakes, and the other kids in the village joined in, calling me names and pushing me around. I felt like a ghost, invisible and alone. That night, after a particularly bad beating for breaking a plate, I couldn't take it anymore. I ran into the thick forest that surrounded our village. The trees were tall and dark, their branches reaching out like skeletal hands. I stumbled over roots and rocks, my breath coming in quick gasps. I didn't know where I was going, but I just needed to get away. As I ran deeper into the woods, the sounds of the village faded. The only noise was the rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. I felt scared and lost, but I kept moving until I found a small clearing. In the middle stood a crooked hut, its windows glowing with a warm light. I hesitated but then walked toward it, my curiosity pushing me forward. I knocked on the door, and it creaked open. Inside was an old woman with wild hair and a face full of wrinkles. She looked at me with eyes that seemed to see right through me. "Welcome, child," she said, her voice soft but strong. "I am Mama Amina, the witch of the forest. I've been waiting for you." I didn't know what to say. I was scared, but something about her made me feel safe. I stepped inside, and the warmth of the fire wrapped around me like a blanket. The hut was filled with strange herbs and jars of colorful liquids. It smelled like earth and magic. "Why are you here, Tond?" Mama Amina asked, her gaze steady. I told her everything, the beatings, the bullying, the loneliness. I poured out my heart, and she listened without judgment. When I finished, she nodded slowly. "You have been wronged, child. I can help you, but you must be brave." I didn't know what she meant, but I was desperate. "I'll do anything," I said. Mama Amina handed me a small vial filled with a dark liquid. "Drink this under the full moon, and you will gain the strength to stand up for yourself." That night, I drank the potion. A warm feeling spread through my body, and I felt powerful. I could hear the whispers of the forest, and I knew I was no longer alone. The next day, I returned to the village. My heart raced as I approached my foster parents' house. They were outside, laughing and talking, but when they saw me, their smiles faded. "Look who's back," one of them sneered. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "You will not treat me like this anymore," I shouted, my voice strong and clear. They looked at me in shock. I could feel the power inside me, a force that made the ground tremble. The air grew heavy, and shadows began to swirl around me. I felt the spirit of the forest at my side, ready to protect me. My foster parents fell silent, their faces pale. They tried to back away, but I raised my hand, and the shadows wrapped around them. "You will know what it feels like to be afraid," I said, my voice echoing with a strength I had never known. In that moment, I saw fear in their eyes. They begged for mercy, but I felt no pity. I had suffered for too long. With a wave of my hand, I sent them into the darkness, where they would never return. The villagers watched in horror as I stood tall, no longer the scared boy they once knew. I had embraced the power Mama Amina had given me, and it had set me free. But the power came with a price. As the days turned into weeks, I noticed something strange happening to me. I could hear whispers in the wind, and shadows seemed to follow me wherever I went. At first, it felt good to be strong, but soon I realized that the darkness was creeping into my heart. I began to feel angry and vengeful, not just toward my foster parents but toward everyone who had ever hurt me. One night, I returned to the forest, seeking Mama Amina's guidance. The moon was full, casting a silver glow over the trees. I found her hut and knocked on the door. She opened it with a knowing smile. "Turned, my child," she said, "you have embraced the darkness, but it can consume you if you let it." "I don't want to feel this way," I confessed, my voice trembling. "I just wanted to be free." Mama Amina nodded. "Freedom comes with responsibility. You must learn to control the power within you. Use it to protect those who cannot protect themselves, not to seek revenge." I listened carefully, realizing that she was right. I had let my anger take over, and it was changing me into something I didn't want to be. I spent the night with Mama Amina, learning how to harness my power. She taught me about the balance between light and dark, and how to use my strength for good. When I returned to the village, I was different. I still felt the power within me, but I had learned to control it. I began to help others, standing up for those who were bullied and mistreated. The villagers started to see me in a new light. They no longer feared me, instead, they respected me. But the memory of my foster parents lingered. I knew they were gone, but I couldn't shake the feeling of anger that still bubbled beneath the surface. One night, I decided to confront my past. I returned to the place where they had hurt me the most, their house. As I stood outside, I felt the shadows gather around me. I could hear their whispers, urging me to take revenge. But I remembered Mama Amina's words. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The house was empty, but the memories flooded back. I could see their faces, hear their cruel words. Instead of letting the darkness take over, I spoke aloud. "You will not control me anymore. I am not your victim." In that moment, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The shadows receded, and I realized that I had finally broken free from their hold. I walked out of the house, feeling lighter and stronger than ever. From that day on, I became a protector of the village. I helped those who were bullied, just as I had once been. I shared my story, teaching others that they could find strength in their pain. Mama Amina became my mentor, guiding me as I learned to balance the darkness and light within me. And every time I walked through the forest, I felt her presence beside me, reminding me that I was never alone again. The witch of the forest had not only given me power, she had given me a purpose. I was no longer just Turned, the orphan. I was Turned, the guardian of the weak, and I would never let anyone suffer as I had.